Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today is an update on my Renault 5 EV ownership. My last video caused quite a commotion. Yeah, many people didn't get what I was trying to do with that video, which was to show a first-time EV owner, which I am, had no experience with it, done some research, but just wanting to get from A to B, just in the normal way you would do with any other type of car, regardless of its drivetrain. Thank you all for the comments in the video I created. It was very informative. Also, I had to fend off quite a lot of criticism. Some of it was fair, others was absolutely not. The purpose of the whole trip was to get from Manchester to Oxford and back again in this car. I'd never done an EV journey in my life. I've just never done it. So there was no instructions which came with this car at all. It was literally a key was handed to me and that was it. There was no instructions on where to get the manuals from, because there are some online. They're not great ones, but you have to really search. There's nothing in the glove compartment at all. No link inside here to say, hey, this is where it is. I've searched through here. There's no sign of anything inside the dash here on the actual infotainment at all. So I was completely on my own. So absolutely no instructions on how to use this car or even use an EV. I put that down to Renault. They really should have put a manual in here, or even a little leaflet saying go to this link, go to this URL to go and download a manual or something so that you can actually study it. I decided to then have to go down to work in this car. First ever trip in this. Going down there was actually remarkably smooth. I got to my first destination with about 40 to 50 miles, whatever it was, on the gauge. So yeah, it seemed to be doing really well and I was quite pleased with it. It was when I was coming back, there was the issue. Now, I was tired, I had a long day. I made mistakes. And also Google Maps on this infotainment made mistakes. I just wanted to get from A to B. Now, there is a great breakdown of this story by a gentleman called Dave, or David. I will put a link into the description and go and have a look at that. It's a very detailed description, and he noticed, I didn't notice, but he noticed, as being an experienced EV owner, that there was a discrepancy between Google and the actual car. Now, I didn't even know what this GOM thing is, this guessometer thing on the actual mileage. I thought it was a reasonably accurate range, because you get these type of meters in other cars, which are sort of there. There's like 10, 15% either way, something like that. Google Maps telling me, oh, you've got to charge. There is also the fact that I pulled up at Stafford Services. I'm incredibly tired, had a very long day. I've been away from home for over 48 hours. I just wanted to get home and I was very hungry, and I pulled into Stafford Services and I plugged in to a low to medium charger, kilowatts charger. And I plugged in thinking, okay, I'm going to be about 30 to 40, 50 minutes, something like that. In that 40 to 50 minutes, it had charged it pretty much up to maximum. And I was expecting it to maybe put 20% on. I had no reference to how long these things will take or charge. There's no instruction manuals out there telling you. So this is my first time actually trying to charge this car in a public place on a real trip. So I had no time reference for how long it would take to charge. So I went in, got a Burger King from the meal from the Stafford Services, ate it and came out, and I was about 45 minutes, 40 minutes, 45. What I didn't know at the time, and this has been pointed out, is that I can go into here and limit the charge that goes into the car. It's buried away in here. I've never seen it. So I could have actually limited it down to, say, 50%, and then it would have cost me a lot less money on that charge. So here is where you can actually sort of change the battery. Again, you can bring it how much you will charge. So you can go up to 100%, or you can actually move it down to, say, for instance, 55%. So this is where I have to go into here when I'm on a public charger and just put in enough charge for me to get home, so I can plug into my home charger at 7p a kilowatt, rather than actually keeping it up like 85% here. Because if you plug it in and go into in for some food into the services, it will charge straight up to whatever this maximum is. To find that, I had to go into all the different settings, and I didn't know about that. I didn't know that was a thing you can actually do. So there are issues with the way in which the user friendliness of charging it for a new person to this. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't feel very intuitive. The next issue was the Google Maps. So when I got to Stafford Services, the map said that I was going to be something, was it what, 5 to 10% out? The car was on 35%. Being new to this, I just think, well, I'm going to err on the side of caution and charge the car. When actually, David, the experienced owner, actually pointed out, I could have probably got back with a few miles to spare. But I'd never done this before. So again, car was charged up. So I finally got home. I made the video. I was quite dissatisfied, not with the car generally, but actually with essentially how the charging works. Again, no manual, no link to the manual, nothing actually inside the screen, which I could see that actually was a manual. All on my own, trying to understand how an EV works. Again, you can go online and you get various different opinions about how you should run an EV. You've got all sorts of people, again, being religious about this stuff. I like electric and I like petrol. I don't see what the problem is. It's just fear. Most of the problem with EV ownership is fear. And actually that's what was driving me to make my video, was I was fearful of the fact that actually this thing can cost a lot of money to run. If it's plugged into the wall and it's doing 7p a kilowatt, fantastic. But you have to change the way in which you charge the car. You have to do lots and lots of small charges. The petrol world, you know, with the ICE engines, you can fill up, do a whole chunk of miles, and then fill up again. It's more convenient. Done correctly, the Renault 5 and all other EVs will be more efficient than petrol, I think, especially if you're running from your local charging. So highly recommend going to have a look at that article that David created, and it was a very good read. And I did contact him. I haven't had a reply. I sort of explained the circumstances around what I was trying to do, because it was very difficult to do it in that video. Whatever you do on YouTube, you get criticised. Just the nature of it. So I put out a video detailing my emotional state and experiences of this car. The issues I've had with this car have been relatively minor. Okay, this screen here has reset 4 or 5 times now since I've had it. It's actually been more stable. It only seems to reset when I'm going over very bumpy roads on country roads. I went on some country roads recently and it didn't do it at all. I've had clips. Where is it? Now, I've had clips like this fall out of the dash underneath here on the passenger side. That's the 3rd clip that's fallen off on this car, and it looks like it's actually there to hold plastics on. So yeah, that's the 3rd one that's actually come off now. There's no rattling underneath the dash. Everything feels firm, apart from the panel on here started to rattle, and I pushed it back in and it seemed to click back in again. There's been software issues with this car, and my other half, who also has one of these cars, has also noticed the same software issues. All around the cruise control, the car seems to hunt all the time and gently sort of accelerate and decelerate, but it's really very, very minor. I've also had issues with the lane assist as well. It's actually very good, but you've really got to keep your eye on it. At one point, it wanted to take me off into the hard shoulder. And another time it was about to cut a car up. So I had to it decided it was going to change lanes and follow that. And it was down to markings in the road being indistinct. And this thing decided it was going to change lanes, and I felt sorry for the driver who was there, because it was a bit of a shock. It was to me as well. And also then this cruise control issue where, again, if you've got the value of your cruise control still plumbed in there, you, rather than click mode, you click the next one beside it. This car will take off, especially if you've got 70 mile an hour on that cruise control setting and you're sitting behind something like a car and you're pressing mode to change the mode of the whether you want adaptive cruise control or lane assist, the level of driver assistance. The functions are very similar, and especially late at night, if you're in here and you miss it, and you have to catch the car really quickly because it will accelerate hard, and that's quite I think that's a little bit of a safety issue, because you're not in control of the car. You're trying to find something in it to do with the software, and actually this thing, pressing that button there by accident, the car will take off and you have to stab the brake as hard as possible. Yeah, do I like the car? Yes, I bloody well love it. I think it's a fantastic piece of design, and I think they've executed it really well. It's a new car. There's going to be bugs. I had a brand new 208 GTI, and it was full of problems. £14,000 worth of warranty claims that. And before that, I had the DS3R, which was also a relatively new car, and it had some major problems, that car, and I ended up getting rid of it. So new cars have issues. When you buy a new car, it won't be perfect. So over the past few weeks, I've now got 900 miles on the clock here on this car. Has my opinion changed about EV ownership? Yes, it has. Going from a complete newbie and starting to learn how you drive an EV and how you charge it and so forth, you learn as you go on. You can't learn from the internet because you've got vastly differing opinions. So what have I learned from making that video? One, people see what they want to see in my videos. Yeah, that's something I've learned. And also I get that on my other channel, the Resurrection Retro channel, my vintage gaming. Two, EV's charging network isn't as good as you think, but it's actually better than most petrol head people think it is. Three, you can charge an EV and you can actually make it economic. I've actually been charging this. I've charged this at a couple of other public chargers, just topped up what I need. And that's the key. You only top up the battery for what you need, rather than keep on charging from zero to maximum. You just go as you go along. If you're doing long distances, charge as much as you need for the next charger. You have to plan a little bit ahead, which is sort of like petrol cars, but it's a little bit more aggressive. You've got to sort of plan a little bit further out, and that's something they don't teach you. In fact, nobody teaches you anything. They just hand the keys over and you get on with it. That's my next thought, is that the car manufacturers have got to help people understand how EVs more. There's a lot of fear and there's a lot of opinions without facts. And there's a lot of prejudice against EVs, and I get it. I absolutely get it, because petrol cars are easier than EVs. They are in terms of charging. Interesting thing is when I go from this into my petrol cars, changing gears and the driving experience is more involved, but also it feels slightly archaic. But I still love my petrol cars. I still love that feeling of changing gear, being engaged with my car. So I fully get why people don't want to go to EV, and that's fine. It's not for them. I think everybody should at least try to have a go with one and see how they get on, because you go back from this to a petrol car and it feels agricultural. When I go back to my petrol cars, especially my RS Twingo, that feels so much more engaging than driving this car. And this is a good car. This is quite a reasonable car, but it is much more engaging. It's much more sensual. You get a lot more feedback. I find when I drive this car, I'm calmer. I drive in a much more calmer way. It's much more effortless. So for me, this car makes sense. I just have to learn how to use public chargers better. That's the takeaway I've got. So thank you for watching. Please like this video if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't like it. Put in the comments if you disagree with anything I say. I'm done here. Oh.